What if there was a way to be made well? What if there was a way to really be able to overcome our depression, melancholy, sadness, and despair, or the suffering that we choose? What if it was really true that suffering is a choice, happiness is a choice, just as well as happiness is a choice, just as well as misery is a choice? What if it was true that we held the key to live an abundant, full life in Christ, with Christ? When you're stuck in the throes of depression, what I'm about to say even seems impossible. But what if? In Luke chapter 17, there's a wonderful story about Jesus who heals the 10 lepers. The lepers were outcasts in that society. They were cut off from their families. They were considered unclean. They might as well have been dead because they had no social contact except with each other, cut off from normal life. And I can imagine them living in depression, despair, sadness, suffering, and misery. And Jesus heals the 10 lepers, restores them to their lives, heals them physically, but I think even goes deeper and heals them spiritually and emotionally. And one of those lepers shows us one of the secrets of the universe, if we could only practice it. Talk about being grateful when you're healed like that. But only one of the lepers comes back and gives thanks and gratitude to Jesus. And Jesus says this, "Didn't I heal 10? But only one comes back to give thanks? And the one that comes back is a foreigner?" And then Jesus says these words, "Arise and go. Your faith has made you well." And most Bible scholars are in agreement that what Jesus means by the word faith in this context is thankfulness. So here you go. What Jesus is saying to this healed person is your gratitude has made you well. What if that was true? That our gratitude is what can make us well and lift us out of the pit of despair that we are often in. What if it was true that now brain science is finally catching up to spiritual wisdom expressed by Jesus in this story? For some of us, the neural pathways of misery, suffering, depression, despair go deep, and it seems impossible to even be thankful for one thing. Instead of 1,001 things going right for us through the day and us having that in mind, it seems like 1,000,001 things go wrong and lead us again to those neural pathways, those Grand Canyon pathways of negativity, pessimism, that lead to severe depression and despair. What if this practice of gratitude and thankfulness every day, throughout the day, constantly could make us well? What if it was better than any pill? What if this is the happiness pill? And what if this was a radical act of discipleship that we could live out in a practical way in our lives, in our day, moment by moment? Then perhaps I could be made well, and we could be made well. And if you're like me, the negative thoughts and the suffering can be a trigger for us to practice and practice. So may we do that, and may this help us live all the days of our lives.